the one and only Will Nitze inside of this show, founder and CEO of IQBAR. I think this whole thing started. I think this launched with a Kickstarter. I think it did. Now he has built a behemoth. We got to get the story. I want to get a little backstory, origin story with him. And then I want to talk about all they're doing. I have to say, I wasn't even aware of everything that they are doing. They are now they're now much more than just an incredibly good tasting bar that you need to have with you all the time. They've gone into drinks, they've gone into coffee. Yeah. I'd like to hear about what else they have in store. We need to bring the one and only Will inside the show. Will, get in here. Get inside the show here. Will Nitze, there he is. There he is. Will, welcome to the show, brother. We appreciate you making the time to join us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Will, I would love if you would back this up a little bit. I kind of hear that you're like Boston-ish, Boston-based. I have a fondness for that part of the country. Is where met my wife. She is from that way. Up there, but I'd love to get a little backstory on this before we, break out into everywhere and all the things that you guys are doing now. How did this whole thing get started, Will?
Sure. Yeah. So I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was selling software to oil and gas companies right out of college. Knew I didn't want to do the management consulting or iBanking thing, which a lot of my friends did. But still didn't know what I wanted to do. So I did that as by default. Didn't really love it. Was on a plane to and from Houston every week.
Were you really?
Yeah. Spent a lot of time at the Westin downtown. Great lobby.
What a vibe.
Great lobby for building PowerPoint decks.
What a vibe.
Yeah.
Wow. I can feel that in my core. I can feel that in my core.
You didn't want to stay there forever, Will, is what I'm picking up. You didn't want to stay in the lobby.
But I also didn't know what was better. So I had a terrible diet at the time. I felt bad, mostly cognitively. I was getting headaches. Had to pound like 6 coffees a day.
Oh man.
And I got really obsessed with paleo at the time because that was the one diet that for me resolved everything. I just had more energy. I could think more clearly. And I read a book called Grain Brain, and that really tied it together of like the intersection of nutrition and cognition. And I also always wanted to start my own thing or, do something entrepreneurial. So, I landed on brain food. Also, IQBAR had exited in roughly that time. And so it became apparent that you could build a big business in this particular category. And so, all that came together and I became a brain food entrepreneur.
Incredible.
Wow. I mean, Will, you're coming off of a hot trade show last week in Vegas. Can you tell us what that was like? What did you see? What cool, fun things did you see? Why were you there? Can you give us a little inside scoop? We were not in Vegas.
Yeah, only my second time in Vegas. My first time was a bachelor party at the Encore, which is not, NSFW, so I won't get into it. But
hey, it's all right.
But no, it was a good. For more context, we don't do shows really. We were kind of like anti-show. We've never exhibited at Expo West. I had never even gone to Expo West until this year, and I just walked the show. So we're not really a big event company. We did go this year mostly to meet with retail partners. Like that's really why we go. We don't go to. We didn't have a booth, for instance. So we go to meet retail partners and then go home. But it was a cool show. I appreciated the difference between that and Expo West of like, not giving a fuck on, selling candy, right? Like Expo West is all about functional this, functional that. And there is a good bit of that in sweets and snacks, but there's also just like the let it rip, full sugar, just give me something that tastes great, which I also appreciate.
Absolutely.
Will, I feel like this, brain food, connecting nutrition and cognition. Obviously you timed this thing incredible, bro, because I feel like the zeitgeist has just continually transformed in front of us, with the flipping of the food pyramid. And it just seems like people care now. And, maybe it's just because I came from the 80s. I just remember, in the 90s, we didn't care. We were just sucking down 50 gram, sugar Cokes all the time. I mean, it seems like you've timed this thing so well. Will, how do you grow a CPG brand? I say this because it seems to be one of the hardest things in the world.
Crazy
A
hard.
lot of times D2C like just doesn't
Oh.
work. Ads, the margins, it just kind of like doesn't work. And what's the path for actually growing this thing look like?
Well, number one is pick a good category. So I think like game selection, quote unquote, is far more important than how good you are within any given game. So pick a good category that's just a good category in a vacuum, but also you're uniquely well suited to win within that category for whatever reason. Like an influencer who's, I don't know, relevant to the party scene, putting out an alcohol brand, right? Like that person is uniquely well suited to come out with a product because of who they are, their skill set, their background, et cetera. And then also just the category has to be good. So part of that's luck because you don't know exactly how the category will evolve. But bars is a good one because the trade-off you're making with bars is it's very big. It's very, very competitive and cutthroat. And so you're trading off. I know this is going to be a big category and continue to grow and be great forever, but everyone else also knows that. And so it's going to be incredibly competitive the whole way through. It's a trade-off that I would make. So yeah, pick a good category is step one. Step two is this is a little touchy-feely, but just like really understand what the point of the business is. I think a lot of people that's muddled in their brain and like bootstrapping so cool now, quote unquote. And it's like, don't raise money, but then maybe in 2 years, I'm going to realize that was totally the wrong path. And I could have moved 10 times faster if I had just raised $1 million and da. But like, you can answer all those questions if you just fundamentally say like, okay, I'm building this to exit. I want to exit in this number of years. Here's the rough like water flow of how much I'll have to raise, how much I'll dilute myself and my team, blah, blah, blah. And just like map all that out. That is, I can't underscore how important all that is.
Yeah.
But let's say you're like me and you said, okay, this is, I'm not selling perfume here. This is not 90% margin items. And at the gate, nothing is really good margin. So we're going to need money. And even if we didn't, we should raise money because we can move 10 times faster. So money is another like unsexy, but just frankly, incredibly important thing, especially in the early days. Because like the hardest thing is building $1 million business, and the next hardest is 1 to 2, and then next hardest is 2 to 4. And it actually gets easier to like, we're going to add an absurd amount of revenue this year, but it was easier this year than in year 2 when we were trying to add 2 million in revenue. Right. So, and a big piece, honestly, in the early days is money to make mistakes. And that dovetails into my like third thing of like, how do you grow a big business? The again, unsexy answer is try everything. So let's say you have this bar and you're like, I think this could work D2C. I think it could work retail. I think it could work food service. But some people would be like, do a big analysis and do a SWOT and yada, yada. And it's going to be this channel. It's like, no, don't do any of that. Like try all channels, just try all and collect data. And it will become apparent pretty quickly where you, and by the way, which is the right channel, 1 or 2 channels is a combination again of several things. It's of the form factor, how good you are. Like some people are just really good at TikTok shop or others are really good at retail. Or so your core competencies as an entrepreneur actually heavily bakes into what the right 1 or 2 channels are. But whatever it is, those will identify themselves and then just hammer 1 to 2 channels. Another massive mistake people make is they try to boil the ocean. They try to, they spend just as much time on a 10-store chain as they would on Amazon, even though Amazon, the energy and revenue out ratio is way, way better. Right. So I mean, those are the high level things. We can get into like how it actually played out for us, but those are the big ones.
Will, I have had your bars nonstop. I eat them every single time I go to Costco. My wife and I, now wife, let's go. My wife and I pick up the massive case, and I shove all the other bars. I throw them on the ground because they shouldn't be worthy. I try to get you some good positioning.
No, you don't. Picture it didn't happen, Colin.
So you talk a little bit about your actual revenue, which is super refreshing. you are at 59 million in 2024, and then you basically overshot and doubled in 2025. So where are we at in 2026 now? Because you were just scaling this thing like a beast. Can you dive into that a little bit on the fundamentals of this?
I stopped unveiling, opening the hood completely because I get yelled at.
Totally.
So I won't give you the explicit figures, but yeah, I mean, we're still growing over 50% a year.
Incredible,
But yeah,
man.
I mean, what you said is true.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, we're put it this way, we're in the multi 9-figure ballpark. So again, though, like,
man.
thank you. Yeah, again, it's like, well, it's doing more of the same, which is less entrepreneur. Like, your most entrepreneurial phase is like the first like 2-3 years, right? And then once you find those channels that click and SKUs that click, and you get smarter on the ops, it's like, how do I supercharge these things that clearly work? And we're kind of in that phase. Although I will say, we had a huge innovation this year. We came out with Bites, which is more or less like a half a bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole new world for us. It's fun because it's like a startup within a startup. And that's another thing. Like, can you expand? TAM is always wrong. Your addressable market is always wrong, because there are these things you can do that are not even new categories, but tangential to your main hero category, that are synergistic supply chain wise and operations wise, but meaningfully expand your TAM, right? Because with a bar, like, you just hit a ceiling at some point. Like, there's only so many people that eat bars, and there are so many bars. So cool. How do I keep getting these like giant incremental revenue gains year after year? At some point, you actually have to do more of the same, and then you'll hit a ceiling, and you have to re-innovate to re-expand TAM. And we did that in a big way this year. So that's kind of like the future of the brand.
I thought the Bites, candidly, Will, I did not know that the electrolytes, the coffee, and the Bites existed. And I was looking at it. I was looking at it today. I was like,
yeah,
oh, yeah, well, the Bites make all the sense in the world.
Yeah. I mean, we are first and foremost a protein company, protein bar company specifically. This is another thing that's kind of like conventional wisdom, is like, focus. Don't try to be everything to everyone and da, da, da. And that is true at a high level, but at a lower level, you can sort of divert focus to do things like build bigger baskets online. So hydration and coffee, it's only online. We don't try to push that into retail. We use that as mechanisms to build bigger baskets, bigger average order values. Someone might churn on the bars, but then they're obsessed with electrolytes, and they come back to the bars, and it just gives you more at-bats digitally. Retail is a totally different ballgame, right? So we're not going to be able to build a bigger basket when like bars are in the bar set, and then electrolytes are like 100 yards over there. So it just works better digitally than it does retail wise. So it's like targeted diversion of focus, very intentionally so. But then Bites, it's literally in the same set in retail and digitally. So we're pushing that everywhere.
Love that.
Well, if you would imagine, I'm a 7-figure brand owner. I'm coming to you. I have some product market fit. We're kind of figuring it out. What advice would you give to me? I'm saying, hey, I want to be Will right now. I want to be that guy, but I'm not. I'm just operating 7 figures. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm swimming through the ocean right now. I'm pushing a bunch of creative out there.
Not in Costco yet. You're not in
Costco yet. I'm just swimming my way through the ocean. What should I be doing? What should I be focusing on in 2026?
I would ask the same question I started with was what is the point of your business? Like, maybe the point of the business was make a $2-3 million business and cash flow it because it's a super high margin thing. Maybe you're selling hydration packets or whatever, and like, so you'd be done. You'd be like, don't do anything, keep doing that. Or if the point is, oh, I want to build this to be a 9-figure business that exits to a big strategic, well, I would give you very different advice. And I would, let's say that was the answer. I would say, again, to dovetail with what I said earlier, find 1 or 2 channels that are mega scalable and where the energy and revenue out ratio is extremely favorable. So an example where that wouldn't be the case would be like, let's say, convenience store. The convenience channel is super fragmented. It's like the turns are generally lower than grocery and certainly lower than e-com. You have to stitch together 15 different retailers to build that like 9-figure right? So that I would say like, don't do that unless you're, pouches or whatever. And like maybe Amazon for you has a phenomenal, first of all, it's definitely scalable, but second of all, your energy and revenue out ratio might be super, super favorable there too. And so like pick a couple. It might be like food service and Amazon. For us, it's like mass and e-com, Amazon in particular. And then just obsess over those sales channels and growing within those channels. I mean, there's so many factors. Like another tangent I would say that most people don't focus on enough. You can tell me if you focus enough on this, in your opinion, but it's just like the ops side of it. The true way to scale a business really fast is to get to mass market price points in very big categories.
Yeah.
So most e-com folks are like, I'm a premium item and I'm going to sell their premium buyer and Oh, that's cool. But almost zero consumer brands scaled to be giant that way. So the luxury ones did, like LVMH exists, right? And like, and even within food and bev, like Vital Proteins or whatever, like premium and scaled to be big. But those are the exceptions. The vast majority of really, really big scaled businesses got to value price points and spread everywhere.
Yeah. I think that's such a hard pushback for most founders to hear. And, every founder that has a premium brand just wants to say like, hey, I am LVMH. That doesn't apply to me. And then they're trying to scale and they hit these revenue thresholds. And you're like, well, you got to kind of figure it out, buddy. Like you got to figure out this mass appeal to everything. It's unbelievable. It's such sound advice.
Well, we appreciate you making the time to join us, brother. Before we get you out of here, we're going to see IQBAR peptides rolling off the factory here anytime soon.
No, I'm very personally interested in them, but no, that sounds like a lot of red tape that I don't want to deal with.
I think so. Well, we will keep buying them as long as they are in Costco, and we appreciate what you do and appreciate you making the time to join us, brother. Look forward to having you back.
Awesome. Bless.